Hiya! Welcome! Records roundup number 14, I think. We've still got a ways to go before we catch up to Stormy Norman and his smack of owl. But nonetheless, I've got 5 albums on vinyl to show you today. And I think we're going to start with a mail opening, as this came literally about 15 minutes ago in the post. No clues as to who it's from on the packaging, but if I've done my workings out properly, I think, I'm 99% certain, this is going to be from the official web store of Acid Jazz Records. Now then, those of you who are observant and pay attention during videos, I hope that's you, or you'll get lines. As in the old school punishment. It's not a drugs thing, don't worry. Knowing that this is from the Acid Jazz web store, you might have a pretty good idea as to who the artist is of this album. Of course, I'm going to look silly if I open it. It's something completely different that I forgot was coming. No, it is from Acid Jazz, and it is what I thought it was. Ooh, oh, a bit of a freebie in there. Better check the packaging, make sure I'm not throwing any other little free gifts out. That was a nice surprise. I think that's it. Right, let's close my knife up before we carry on, because safety first, even in the vinyl community. The album to show you is a bit of a hole filler, really, in a collection that I've really enjoyed getting on top of this year. And this is a brand new 2022 reissue of an album that I think, I don't know, it came out probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and I can't remember if it got reissued once already and then this is like its second reissue, or whether this is just the first time it's been repressed by Acid Jazz. But it is Matt Berry's Music for Insomniacs. This is, I think, the remaining Matt Berry Acid Jazz album that I needed for the collection. Now, he did release 2 albums prior to joining Acid Jazz. One of them, Opium, did get reissued by Acid Jazz, but copies of that are like gold dust. Hopefully it'll get another reissue at some point like this one has, or this one is rather newer than that. And the other one, I think only came out on CD and probably digitally, and has never had a reissue either. I can't remember the name of that. Only a 2-track album, this, because it's kind of like an experimental, synth-heavy, as you can no doubt surmise from the back of the album sleeve. There's Matthew himself. Of course, I've talked about Matt Berry quite a lot on this channel. I just want to show you the freebie I got. A little fridge magnet. I wasn't expecting that. That slid out of the mailer. Definitely going to stick that on my fridge later on. Fantastic. A bit of an unusual kind of thing to get. Normally in these record roundup videos, as you know, I do try and play a little bit of some of the music that's featuring on most of the albums that I show. However, I'm not going to do that for this because it's only a 2-track album. There's one long track on side 1, Music for Insomniacs Part 1, and then ditto side 2 Part 2. To try and find a section of one of those suites, one of those pieces of music, would have meant basically having to listen to most of the album myself on YouTube before even getting this in the post. So rather than sort of spoil it for myself, it's different with other albums, because a lot of the albums I'm familiar with the tracks on them already, and even if I'm not, then I've only got to look up like one track off an album and I can still listen to the rest of it after I've done the record video and be pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised. So no Matt Berry section for you music wise in this video, but this album is available to listen to on YouTube, and no doubt whatever your preferred streaming service is. I myself just want to listen to it all from start to finish and not have to go searching for a little bit to put in this video. But there we are, really happy to have got that. The price, by the way, I think was £23, and then I think a little bit in postage. Music for Insomniacs from Matt Berry. Some black vinyl, by the way. On to some purchases that have come within the last week or 2. First one I'll show you was from the band, or I wouldn't call them a band, I'd call them like a project, but the Act official web store, which I believe was in Germany. This is a German-based project, and it's an act, it's a new age music project that I absolutely adore. I've got both the previous albums that have been available on vinyl, although this is an act that's been going now for probably the best part of 30 years. Most of their stuff just came out on CD and digitally and probably cassette back in the early 2000s. I'm talking about Pure Chance by Gregorian. Gregorian are a Frank Peterson project. He worked with Enigma back in their early days with Michael Cretu, so you could call this almost like a spin-off of Enigma. And it is what you think it is. It's kind of like your sort of classical crossover music, but all sung in a Gregorian chant style. There's just something about this type of music. I mean, it's new age music, which I am a fan of. Then I do like Gregorian chanting as well. So to have sort of like a pop version of Gregorian chants is just marvellous to me. I've shown the previous two Gregorian albums that I've got on vinyl on the channel quite some time ago, as this one is the first release on the format in a couple of years or so, I think. This is actually their album from last year. It was released around this time in 2021. They've actually got Pure Chants 2 that's come out pretty much the same time as this, but that's only come out CD and digital so far, so for some reason they didn't release this on vinyl last year, perhaps because of the well-known vinyl pressing difficulties, I'm not sure. But Pure Chants 1, or just Pure Chants, came out on vinyl at the same time as the sequel to this album has come out, so maybe we might get Pure Chants 2 on vinyl next year, possibly, who knows. As is often the case, you're going to get a lot of stuff that's very familiar and some stuff that's maybe not quite so familiar, but if you're into sort of certain maybe either religious songs or classical choral pieces, they would be familiar. Stuff that I've definitely heard of on here is P.A. Jesu, Ode to Joy, which I didn't actually think had any lyrics in it, although thinking about it I could be wrong. I probably am wrong because it's on here and everything's got vocals on it for obvious reasons. And a new version of The Sound of Silence. I've heard their original cover of The Sound of Silence. It is pretty much almost exclusively covers with Gregorian. There's a bit of a look at the back of the sleeve there. As soon as I found out this was coming out on vinyl a couple of months ago, made a pre-order at the official Gregorian web store. I think altogether, including international postage, it came out to about 30 something euros. I think I could have got it about €10 cheaper at JPC in Germany, who I use, as you know, for a lot of record pickups. But not to worry, I'm just delighted I've got this. I absolutely adore this, and they always release things sort of near to Christmas as well, and you can stick one of these on, and even if the songs themselves aren't particularly Christmassy, and there will be some Christmas related stuff on here, I'm certain. It's one of those sort of atmospheric sounds and one of those sort of projects that just makes you feel all festive, and it's got that kind of Christmassy sort of vibe to it even when it's not Christmas. Could be my favourite pickup of the day, this, really. Gregorian and Pure Chants. Onto a couple of New Order albums. Now, I mentioned in the last Records Roundup that I was very slowly doubling up on my New Order CDs to get all the albums on vinyl. It's a long process. Also, I mentioned in the last video that I was waiting for the Low Life, New Order's third album, Definitive Edition box set to come out. That has been announced for pre-order. It's coming out in January. I will do a special unboxing for that. I can't wait. I'm glad that it's still continuing with that definitive series of box sets, as I really love them. And yes, they're expensive, as box sets are, but they've just got so many good extras in, like bonus track CDs and live performance DVDs, and a nice book in them as well. So happy that I'll be able to show you that on the channel in the new year. But on to slightly more recent New Order albums. Here's one from 1993, Republic. So this was purchased from HMV. I got an email saying that it was 25% off on all New Order, well not all, but selected New Order vinyl albums for 24 hours only. and the only two that I wanted that hadn't already got on vinyl, or that I wasn't waiting for to come out in the definitive box set series, was Republic and the next one. New Order's first album since leaving, I say leaving Factory Records. Factory would have pretty much closed down and gone bust just under a year before this came out. I think it's a bit underrated, this album. A lot of hardcore New Order fans find it really sort of overproduced, and the lyrics are kind of a bit sort of glum and gloomy in places, because Bernard Sumner, the main lyric writer, he was obviously very angry at how Factory Records was imploding at the time of recording this album. It's produced by Stephen Hague, or co-produced with New Order by Stephen Hague, and I know Peter Hook doesn't particularly like this album either, because a lot of his bass was pretty much left off this album. But there's some really strong stuff on here. I mean, the lead single and the opening track, Regret, I don't think I've found a person who doesn't love that song. Another one of my particular favourites, World, that's track number 2. Got this on CD, obviously. Once again, it's black vinyl. It's all black vinyl today, although the last thing I'm going to show you, hopefully there'll be a little bit of excitement to it, but we'll see when we get there. But that's New Order Republic from HMV. So I said there was 2 New Order pickups that I've already got on CD, but I decided to get on vinyl as well. The second one was the album that came, I think, 8 years after Republic. It was a bit of a comeback for New Order. It is Get Ready. This is possibly one of my least favourite New Order albums, but there again, I'm such a massive fan of the band, I'll always find something to love on every single one of their albums. This certainly is on here. The opening track and the first single from here, Crystal, is great. The duet with Billy Corgan, of all people, from Smashing Pumpkins, and current head of the NWA wrestling promotion, Turn My Way, I think that's my favourite track on this album. I love that. It's rather rocky and guitar heavy, really, for the most part, whereas I'm more of a fan of New Order's more synth-based stuff. It's not a bad album, it's just never going to be near the top of my favourites chart for New Order. Maybe one day I will do my definitive New Order album ranking, as I do enjoy a lot of ranking videos by vinyl community members here on YouTube. But if and when I do that, I wouldn't expect to see Get Ready be particularly high. I don't think it would be my least favourite New Order album either, though. I won't tell you what is, but if you want to leave it in the comments for a guess, you can do. But there we are, I had 25% off each of those. Just one disc reissues, this and Republic, both from 2015. I'm slowly building up that New Order album collection on vinyl, I should say. I've got everything on CD and have had everything on CD for a long, long time. Similar to what I did with Rammstein and their albums. I did want to get more New Order on wax.
So I'm stepping out on time, because breaking is a crime, and it may all be too late, but I've no passion for this hate. That's the price of love. That's the price of love. Can you feel it? If we could buy it now, that's the price of love. How long will it last? That's the price of
love. And finally, the 5th and final album. This only came in the post yesterday. I say the post, it was an Amazon delivery, because this was an Amazon purchase. It's kind of an Amazon exclusive album, this as well. And when I saw the price of it, I thought, wow, I've got to have this. It's a solo album from a member of a band who I'm a massive fan of. I just haven't bought anything by the band. I haven't really needed to be honest, because they've not released an album in quite some years. But a couple of the members have released solo material. I was looking at my Discogs collection list, and it's been over 5 years since I last added to my Corrs collection, and this one is a Corrs related album, because it is Sharon Corr and her, I think, 3rd solo album, The Fool and the Scorpion. Richard McCook is a big fan of the Corrs and some of the solo stuff. That I think Sharon has been probably the more prolific member of the Corrs. You think of them, and Andrea Corr was always the lead singer. She has released an album, and she's got another one coming out that I've pre-ordered on vinyl. This is her third album, but this is the only one so far that's come out on LP. Although this is only standard black vinyl, this is supposed to be an Amazon exclusive, as it's supposed to be signed on the presumably inner sleeve. So I will get this open so that we can check that. So I've not really heard anything on here apart from one of the singles that I wanted to get a clip of, the Corrs, which is, of course, for those who don't know, an Irish Celtic pop band. 3 sisters, 1 brother. Actually, I don't know why I'm worrying too much about the cellophane on here, as there's no hype sticker to conserve. I think that little sticker at the bottom is just Amazon's own barcode, really, to differentiate it from non-signed copies. So yeah, let's just tear into this, and then I'll put it in one of my good quality protectors later. But the Corrs, as I say, big in the 90s and turn of the new millennium, and I've got all their albums. I've got their first, 4 or 5, I think, on mini disc. I was looking at them now, actually. 1, 2, 3, yeah, first 4 albums on mini disc. One of those is actually a live album unplugged, and the rest of their stuff and compilations and things I have got on CD. But I thought it'd be nice to get this on vinyl, and it was about £11, a bit over £11 something, free Prime delivery. Ah yeah, there we are, look. So that might be like a poster. There it is, she's signed like an art insert there, looking absolutely beautiful there. But it's the Corrs. I mean, God really did give them good genes, didn't he? It'd be a nice thing to frame, but I won't. Quite big. I don't know if I should really, well, I have unfolded it all. I wasn't really intending to. It does look like all this is handwritten, but obviously it won't be. But yeah, that's a nice thing there. We'll have a quick butcher's at the disc, but we know it's standard black vinyl, but we might as well have a look at it. It also comes with a custom inner as well. That's nice. It looks like it's got lyrics on it, as well as the usual production bump. And yeah, it feels 180 gram to me. Nice centre label on that side, and one that matches the record sleeve itself on that side. Can't wait to listen to this. I do hope that there'll be a brand new Corrs album at some point. I think they are playing like a one-off concert in Australia at some point soon. So whether that's a precursor to another studio album, who knows. As I say, Andrea Corr, she's got an album that's coming out very soon, within the next few weeks. And I have made a pre-order for that, and with it coming out in December, it's quite appropriate, but you'll see why when I show it you. There we are, Sharon Corr, her third album, The Fool and the Scorpion, roundup number 14. Hope you enjoyed this look at albums from Sharon Corr, New Order, Gregorian, and of course Matt Berry. I want to say special thanks, as always, to my wonderful subscribers and my generous patrons, and I want to ask you to go and look in the description text box to see my Patreon link, Facebook group link, a referral link for HMV that can get you 20% off your next online purchase, and of course a link for contents insurance as well. I'm going to go now. Loads to listen to here. Don't know what to start with. Doesn't matter, because I'll be listening to it all anyway. I think my main priority will be to stick my Matt Berry fridge magnet on my fridge. And I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next records roundup and record collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!